Hello everyone, welcome to this preview for Lionsgate activations video. So we're looking at all of the activations that are going to be happening on the week before Lionsgate actually. So if you didn't know, the Lionsgate activation portal starts around the 3rd of August or so, somewhere around that time. It's like an energy window of 10 days from the 3rd to about the 12th or the 13th of August. And the sort of peak energy of the Lionsgate will be around 7th or 8th of August. And usually people do the 8th of August because it's the 8/8, the Lionsgate. But we're going to talk about the week before that because there's some pretty interesting activations and some, I guess, traditions of this esoteric knowledge do place the beginning of the Lionsgate onto the 25th of July. And that is the day out of time in the Mayan calendar. And the 26th will then be the beginning of the new Mayan astrological new year. We're going to be going into a bit of a deep dive into what all of those energies are going to be. I also noted a lot of the astrological aspects here, and those might be discussed in community posts because I feel like writing those is more effortless and easy for me. And so therefore, we're going to focus on just the overview of those energies as well as the Mayan calendar, which was very fascinating to me, as well as what's kind of coming through some other activations here. And I'm going to just give you a quick breakdown of what are all of the activations in this gateway as we speak. So, like I said, 25th of July, we have the day out of time, but also on the same day, we had Jupiter stationing. So Jupiter will stay still until August 2nd. And then we're also going to have a moon opposing Jupiter on August 3rd. So when Jupiter has already gone retrograde. So that's quite interesting. I did write a bunch of notes about this, so we're going to get into that. And so then on the 26th, so a third day out of time, we have the Mayan New Year of the red self-existing moon. The 28th of July, we have the new moon in Leo, which is also trine to Jupiter in Aries. In Leo will be square to the North Node, as well as Uranus and Mars, which will then be conjunct on the 1st of August. And that will also be accompanied with a T-square from Mercury opposing Saturn. So then the Saturn Square Uranus T-square will also be kind of activated, even though it is not as strong as it has been, because like a couple of months ago, it was a lot stronger when the nodes were squaring Saturn very tight in. And on the 29th of July, we also have Venus conjunct Sirius, which I briefly discussed in my previous video, in my previous forecast video, should I say, which was about the 7/7 Sirius portal day, the portal gateway, because that kind of also opened up a lot for the Sirian energies. In this specific video, I don't think I'm going to necessarily go into human design as of yet. After the Venus conjunct Sirius, like I said, we have Mars conjunct Uranus, conjunct North Node. All of these are conjunct in Taurus at the same time on August 1st with a T-square to Mercury opposite Saturn. So that's all happening on the 1st of August. Very busy. And then we have the Lionsgate portal, of course, on the 3rd of August, as well as the moon will oppose Jupiter on 3rd of August. So that's how we're starting kind of the Lions Gateway portal on that day. We have Sirius rising on the 7th/8th of August, and that is the Lionsgate portal. And we're wrapping up the gateway on the 12th of August with the full moon in Aquarius conjunct Saturn with a T-square to Uranus and North Node, as well as we're also having Venus in Leo involved in this as well. And then we have Mars sextile Neptune. So that's a very cool full moon as well. It's very harmonious as well. Like both of these, well, there's like harmonious aspects, but then there's these T-squares, which are a bit intense because there's like there's a T-square from the full moon to the Uranus Node conjunction. So this is very busy, but it's also very liberating. And that's the general impression that this is bringing us. It's a lot of freedom, but it might come with a little bit of stress, I suppose. And what I wrote here is to just think of this expansion as a space to go deeper, deep and vast, while discerning of consequences, discerning of use of your own will. And that came up as well for when it came to the Mayan calendar. So I will go into that soon. Expansion as spaciousness. So it's not just about the expansion for like, just like putting things out there and just expanding, but this is like making more space. That's kind of how I'm feeling this. For divine interventions, as well as what I also wrote here is divine interventions as well as inventions are very likely to occur right now. So all of those types of things can come through in your own guidance as well as in your own inner world, whatever world, but don't externalize or go to just expect all of those things to come from like very logical places or very specific places where you expect them to come from, because Uranus is very unexpected energy. And it's kind of the same thing, well, not necessarily exactly the same thing, but divine guidance sometimes is very unexpected, surprising, and just a little bit bizarre, and absurd, I love the absurdity of the universe. Things are so weird sometimes. And that's what I'm here for, And you should know by now that's what I'm here for. Let's get into the Mayan New Year. This will start us on the journey of understanding the need of unifying and merging, oneness and coherence. Those things came through information, because we come to understand that we don't need to compartmentalize everything, and yet even without compartmentalizing, things can still remain in order. Things can still flow beautifully and hold their form. This transit does remind me of the concept of the proper use of life force. Like I said, there was this emphasis on using one's will correctly, the discerning of one's use of will. So this also applies to the proper use of life force. Okay, so when you go about living your life, let's just pretend that I have vodka in here. This is actually a very cool mug that I found. I found this at the recycling center and I got it for free. So it's Leo. I have a Leo mug now. I'm a Leo rising, by the way. When you go about your day and have vodka here, would it be the proper use of life force for me to drink vodka when in my life I want to be sober and I want to be clear and I want to be in control, as much in control of my actions as I possibly can? No, it wouldn't make any sense. So therefore I have decaf in this. That's the proper use of life force for this. Decaf coffee. Another very mundane way to think about this, just a way that these things show up in our daily lives. So the proper use of life force. Am I going to use my life force to amplify what's going downhill in my life, or am I going to use it to bring up the things that I want to see go up? And I know I personally at least had many of these lessons recently. And so don't think of me as some kind of, like, even though I am a star guide and I do my best to provide a higher perspective here, I'm not perfect by any means. I'm not trying to position myself or somebody who knows everything, right? And so I'm just here to provide another perspective as well as guidance to those who are willing to hear it. So that's clear now. And so using the life force properly, this might also have something to do with, like prioritizing that. So we might go through these situations where we have to really discern where we are, our life force, and when it comes to our priorities or our priority. It's so funny. I don't remember who talked about it, but priority is just one word, like it's just supposed to be just one thing, but then people made it priorities, so then there's more than priority. So it kind of lost its meaning in that way. This transit and this cosmic event also brings back the theme of embodiment. So the theme of embodiment, while it's also allowing us to purify what isn't a fit into our highest expression. And where this is coming from is the Mayan New Year of the red self-existing moon. So this is the type of energy that measuring as well as flowing and very sort of watery energy in it at the same time. And so that's kind of what's coming through with the sort of purification, because it's also all about definition and purification. The day out of a time then allows us to begin from this clean slate, as all of our old issues are being closed. And we have been in a year of a yellow electric seed, which is a very expansive and very eye-opening energy. It's also very activating, and our spiritual senses have definitely been activated throughout the year. And if you haven't felt it, then you might need to work on that. That's all I'm going to say, because like sometimes people just choose not to connect to the higher realm energies, and they choose not to connect to their own of higher level guidance, and they choose not to do the real work that they're being guided to work on. And what I mean by this is that we have so much more available right now, just from the energies of the earth. Being stuck kind of on the basic level intuition and empathy is kind of already becoming old. So that's all I'm really saying. Right. So I have definitely felt this, like I've had my skills amplified, powered up, energized, and all kinds of freaky skills too. Don't really want to talk about all of that here because it's very personal and it's very private. I can say that my skills have definitely leveled up throughout the whole spring. Yeah, regardless of how I perceive my life, regardless of how I perceive, for example, my state of being, my state of health or wealth or whatever, still, when I do the work, when I do my spiritual practice, it just keeps on leveling up. It brings that sort of open field once again. And it allows me to connect with not just my own multidimensional self, but also my multidimensional guidance realms, my guidance systems. It allows me to paint beautiful pictures like this. It's not completely finished yet, but it's here. A little sneak peek just for you. Yellow electric seed challenged us in where we are putting our energy and awareness into, because that's what it's all about. And it's all about, like, on a very human level, we've had to be very mindful of what we're focusing in and what has been taking us away from what we were supposed to focus on, our priorities, right? And the reason why I put supposed to focus on, because that's kind of also kind of like a polarizing and maybe a little bit judgmental. And, oh my God, you're supposed to do this. Like I've heard that so many times that it's starting to kind of become a lower realm construct for me. So if there has been something that has been taking us away from that, something that is very important for not just our development, not just our growth, something that's taking us away from that thing to work on, right? We're going to really have to wrap those things up and really let ourselves move on. And even with the serious transmission that I did previously, that had to do with also embracing transition. So embracing the moving on to this new cycle. So I feel like the day out of time is going to also amplify that energy and give us yet another chance. And if you haven't yet done like a, let's say, social media detox day, even just one day, or even if that's like too hard, some people, it can be too hard, but half a day, or like maybe you of one time of the day when you're allowing yourself to check your social media, and that'll be it. But I would really advise at least 1 day or more social media free days around the Mayan New Year and the day of time, just to give yourself that space and that feeling of timelessness, and to allow yourself to tap into these cosmic energy flows. Okay, that's just my advice. And so, yeah, we're going to wrap up things from this yellow electric seed year and cleaning our slate. And that way, we're going to allow us to experience the timelessness in our own ways. And then we can launch into the new year, which will take us into purification and definition. And it does sound pretty beautiful to me. New year is going to be all about that, that proper coherence and unifying and merging without compartmentalizing. And again, bringing back to the definition of what we are here to embark on, purifying all throughout this coming Mayan New Year. On the very same day, like I said, we have Jupiter stationing and standing still until August 2nd. And this highlights to me, it's almost like we have a break in our year, like chill time, until Jupiter gets retrograding after that. And this is a break to realign things to what we most value. Thus, this definition occurs. And when it comes to this energy, the new moon in Leo will be just after this. This will break us out of our bubbles. Like all of these energies will do that. And I might make like a post on my community tab or something, depending on how the energy flows. But the thing about this new moon in Leo is that this is really a chance to create the type of new beginnings. This is really, the Leo energy is always challenging us to remember ourselves and to glow in our own true light. And it's about being authentic and being shining. There's just so many words that come through to my mind. It's not just shining just to, look nice, but it's like the inside out type of shine, you're just that's what I think of when I think of Leo. And it's this very warm energy. That's the basic idea. But then of course there is this a little bit of like, I guess, competition between Uranus and North Node, and then Saturn in Aquarius being opposite. And when I think about that, the Uranus conjunct the North Node energy is also involved. This is, I wouldn't want to say explosive, but it's like, because that's also has a bit of a connotation towards like, but that's not really what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of, well, it's liberating. It's very intensely liberating. Because everything's kind of happening, there's a lot of energy going on here, and then Uranus breaking us all free, then Mars kind of like amplifying it, and it's also giving it a more personal flavor, because it is one of these personal planets. It's one of the personal transmitters of the planet, planetary, this solar system that's we happen to be on the Earth on, the North Node, which drives us to our destiny. So there's a lot of like very fated energy that we still have to use our free will and use our proper life force in a very traditional sense. You might also think of Mars as the force of the Kundalini and the force of the life force, energy, drive, and passion, those type of things. So this is a very powerful time to be using our passions and those energies very wisely, okay? And this is not a time to mess around with those. And I will say though, even if you do mess around with them, I don't believe in like this deterministic attitude that then you're just ruining it all, like it's all just gone. There'll always be ways to salvage things, and there will always be ways to fix things, right? Unless it's something like very severe where it's not going to happen in that specific situation, to be brought up later on in another situation. That's kind of one thing that's very clear about the energy dynamics in the current energetics of this Earth planet here. where we might not get our lessons from the same person. We might not even deal with the same karma from the same person, but it might happen in other ways, right? And that's just a process that we have to take ourselves through and learn for ourselves and grow with ourselves in, a square from Mercury, which is also then opposite to Saturn. And then, of course, we're going to have the planet Earth in Aquarius at this time. There be some communications going on here that we have to navigate, and we might have like our, I guess, lower mind kind of reacting in ways to these things, so we're going to have to be a bit more mindful about that. But I also feel like when we tap into those higher levels of consciousness, we're going to be able to problem solve this pretty effectively. And we're going to really need to tap into that innovative side of ourselves and this very driven side of ourselves, because we have to really take our calling seriously and our purposes, all of that, whatever you put under the umbrella, like a Starseed mission or something, we really those things seriously, because that's the key right now in solving all of these other problems, real purpose behind all of this. And have we been going about it in a way that honors that purpose? Have we been going about this in a way that truly is for the highest good of all involved? That is my for the T-squares, all of them, all of the T-squares and whatnot. And we also have to remember to keep our boundaries, focus, and discipline, because that's what Saturn is like highlighting here. And there might be some boundary issues that might also challenge the situation, but it's also nothing to be worried about. It might just be that maybe we're on a different page with somebody, maybe we have a different idea about a boundary, but then somebody else comes in and they have a completely opposite idea of the same boundary. Or maybe we have like a different idea of what a friendship or a relationship or other something very mundane thing like a career path or spiritual beliefs, debt, money, whatever. We might have some very different ideas about what different things are, and those may clash with our destiny, what we're meant to be doing right now. Keep that in mind throughout this energy gateway. Like I said, Venus will be conjunct Sirius on July 29th, and I got some new intel as I was just writing this down here. This brings us unions through the divine realms. This is so beautiful. Dream state and other multidimensional ways, and I've been feeling this already. I actually had a dream about someone, a dream of this person who I haven't really even interacted with, even on a very superficial way. It was just so like, it was like one of those lucid dreams, right? I've had lucid dreams many times, but it was like one of those, just that I'm getting chills as I think about it, a very deeply impactful lucid dream, and then I found out that also lucid dreams. So I'm just like, did you do this? I don't know. Maybe I'll have to ask them. I also feel like in other kind of multidimensional ways, we're gonna connect with different people who are on our path for a reason, and different divine connections, and we might have other very recently defined experiences through the realms, because like I said, with the Sirius energy, they are working through the realms and they're helping humans with what they know about these realms. And they're helping humans with what the sort of galactic mission is. Like they're one of those species that work in very close connection with humans, and they understand the dimensionality as well. So that's kind of what comes to me, and that's where this also came through. We might definitely feel those deep surges love coming through. Divine art, like creating multidimensional art, might be a very powerful way to also use this energy, engaging all of your senses. And I feel like the multidimensional sensations can also become like very wild in this experience. But this is a very harmonizing experience. So I do feel like if you have, for example, had past life experiences from serious times, then this can bring a lot of healing and soothing and like, yes, constructive healing. That's kind of the word that's coming to me, right? That's going to really help in integrating the lessons, as well as and maybe coming to some kind of coming to peace with it, you know, because it's very important for us to be be at peace with our past, regardless of what about, whether it's a past life or it's from your human past. So I feel like that's going to also be very very possible and very likely and very emphasized right now. I feel like I'm just going to do like a separate video for the Lionsgate itself, because there's a lot of transit to go through there, and I might also do like a pick a card for that, but it's not going to be just a pick a card. It's going to be like activation stuff. So like just be prepared for that. This is going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you later.